Sailor Chibimoon's Great Adventure is an old RPG Maker game created using the 2003 engine, and was originally released back in the summer of 2006, though this review will cover the latest version of the game, which was released in July of 2007. And I'll be honest in saying that most of the disparaging remarks I make about this game can largely be ignored, since the game is simply cracktastic, I guess would be the phrase. You'll see what I mean in a little bit, though. Story-wise, the game is a crossover game between Sailor Moon and Wedding Peach, with a plot built around an old villain from the Sailor Moon series turning several of the sailor-suited warriors of love and justice into Dark Senshi, in order to distract his enemies while he creates an army of clones. And that is basically the entire plot in a nutshell. About the only real drawbacks to the plot that I can think of is the fact that there are some spelling errors and the text gets cut off at certain points in the game. But none of those errors make for an unintentionally funny joke or undermine the plot to a significant degree. I do question why Chibimoon comes across as threatening the player at one point, but I'm sure Mama will sort her out for threatening an innocent bystander with an appropriate punishment.
I guess I have no choice. Ouch! Ow!
Sailor Chibimoon's Great Adventure features a random encounter system with an active time battle system. Thankfully, this system can be shifted into a passive mode, seeing as how I disdain the active time battle system with a passion that I won't get into in this video, since I have discussed it in a previous video. Suffice to say, this inclusion of a passive mode, while sort of expected at this point, is a nice boon for this game, since it prevents me from hating it on sheer principle. On the other hand, the game does have some balance issues with regular enemies being a cakewalk, while bosses are usually so far ahead of them in terms of difficulty that the regular enemies don't present the player with a decent measuring stick. Thankfully, this issue can be sidestepped if you have a little patience and are willing to purchase stat-boosting items the only time they are available in the game. Though the real saving grace for this game is the main character's weapon of choice. And what is this weapon that shifts this game into the category of stupidly awesome? Well, please allow me to sing a couple of bars that act as its introduction. Rubber ducky, you're the one. You make slaying demons so much fun! Seriously, this game manages to bypass all kinds of issues just because of this weapon alone. The issues I have with the game not clearly marking its entry points into new areas are basically eradicated by this weapon, since it's impossible to take this game seriously or any of the issues with the game seriously. Visually speaking, the game is a bit disappointing in my opinion, since most of the enemy sprites appear to come from the default stock for the 2003 engine. To make matters worse, the movement of your party's characters in combat are rather stiff and unnatural, while the enemies are perfectly still. In fact, the differences between the enemies and the player characters create a visual clash that hurts the game in my opinion, and makes it hard to immerse yourself into the action. Another issue with the game is that several times the screen will go black while voices sound off in the background. I'm going to assume the game was actually trying to utilize clips from the actual show, but fails at doing so for some reason or another. I'm not big into understanding the technical capabilities of RPG Maker or the various reasons bugs or glitches can occur, so don't ask me to explain how to fix this issue. Though a few of the clips do play as intended. On the sound side of things, the game is just average in my opinion. None of the background music really stood out to me as being something I enjoyed listening to on my own time, but none of the pieces felt out of place, and thus because they don't have amazing songs isn't a reason to really disparage the game in this area. On the other hand, the inclusion of short voice clips felt out of place, considering the fact that only short bursts of character audio are ever heard. I understand why the developer wanted to provide voice clips for the special attacks and transformation sequences, but it doesn't change my position on the topic. And that position is that this was a bad decision. Yes, it makes sense from a fan perspective to do this, but this isn't something I put up with in other games, so I'm not going to about-face for this game. Sailor Chibimoon's Great Adventure is a highly enjoyable game, despite all of its faults because of the rubber ducky alone. It makes this game worth experiencing just for the sheer novelty of bringing a demon to its knees with the awesome power of a bath toy.